Welcome back. As always, it is our honor to be part of your improv journey. We are exploring the themes that show up in your life, from bravery to community, relationships to your inner self. We are using improv to help you connect to yourself and others. The journey guides for this evening are here to help you connect. Feel free to participate at any level that is comfortable for you. Our journey guides may ask you for a suggestion, a comment, or a reflection. Please put those in the chat. As our scientist explores the theme, let us know how it shows up in your life. Participate with us during our drama therapist session. As always, as our special guest, we have a journeyer just like you, a non-improviser who will need your support, your cheers, your laughter, and reflection. Welcome back, journeyer. You've grown. Hello, and welcome to the journey. I am your journey guide, Shannon Dale Stott, and I am so glad to see you again. You have been with us through a month-long journey of curiosity. Curiosity about the self, curiosity about others, curiosity about curiosity, how to cultivate it, why to cultivate it, and how improv helps us cultivate it specifically. We've talked about pain, we've talked about joy, we've talked about grounding, and today we get to talk about a little tiny bit of magic, and that we're going to just sprinkle magic all the way through curiosity. And we can't do that without many things and many people. But here we go. As I'm not your only journey guide, as you well know, because you've been on this ship before, I have another journey guide with me, and that is Aaron Signs. Aaron Signs, are you coming? Look at that.
There we are.
Hi,
Shannon.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Wonderful. Hi, all the people out there watching us now and later. It's great to see you too. Thank you for coming back. Journeyers out there, yeah.
Yeah, they're all journeyers. We're all on this journey together, on this particular journey together, and we're talking all about curiosity. But you know that.
Yes, I know that. And I have two little kids, and they teach me a lot about curiosity all the time. Do you know, I learned actually two things about curiosity recently. Do you want to hear them, or should I save them for the later?
No, I want to hear them. You can't just bury the lead.
Okay. The first one comes from one of my kids' shows they watch. It's called Ninjago. Check it out if you choose to. And they have a saying in there from the wise person, and that saying is, the opposite of fear is curiosity. And I really like that because it teaches kids to go out and explore. And when they get anxious or paranoid or every the other feelings kids get sometimes, it teaches them to go out and explore the world and find things and everything else like that.
Aaron,
yeah,
that's so good, because we being Emily and I were talking about fear and fear as it pertains to fear about finding things out about yourself and finding things out about family and whatnot, and how it can cause a lot of fear and anxiety, and we are apt to not be curious about it. We don't want to discover those things. And so yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I learned is my youngest came in and he had something that was basically just like mud and goo. And he goes, I wonder what it was. It wasn't good. And I think that's also something that we learn and enjoy about curiosity, which is that sometimes you wonder what something is, and it's not good, and that's okay too.
You wonder what it was, and it's fun to explore. And we're going to keep exploring with our science, with the science part of our brains. Emily, Arnold?
Emily! You're also
welcome to the lab.
Yay!
Hey, we're here to talk about curiosity from a behavioral point of view. So hey, y'all. I am so excited to talk about this with you.
I love being in the lab with you. It's amazing because we chat about improv and all of our themes, but then we get to dive deep into the science. We need like bubbling, like little what do you call it? Beakers.
Yeah, so let's all be bubbling beakers while we bring up the slides. Let's just go ahead and dive right into our slides. I'll start by asking a question. Bubbling beakers. I do, you let me know. I think I heard beakers. Very cool. Well, hey everyone, and look, everyone else has joined us in the lab. So everyone, let's say hi to Luke and Gus. What's up?
Hi, Luke and Gus.
So we're going to dive into curiosity today. And I want to start out by asking, so I'm going to ask people in the chat. And while they're typing, I'm going to ask you for Aaron already talked about like what his kids were curious about, where you brought in the mud and you were like, it's not good. What is something that y'all are curious about today or this week? Anything you want to learn? Anything you want to be curious about?
What am I curious about? What do I wonder? I wonder.
Why are we curious?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Interesting. I think I'm curious about time. That's what I'm curious about these days. Yes, I'm curious about the when we get anxious, how time can either slow down or speed up, and when we like sit with what we need to be not anxious about, or just try to breathe, how we can like affect time that way as well. It can like slow down and speed up to our benefit.
Yeah. Anyone else? About you, Gus and Luke? What are you feeling curious about today?
You know, I was ill prepared for the question, but I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been really thinking about a lot lately when it comes to curiosity is how is it that there are people out there that seemingly aren't curious about things? Coming from a magic background, everything is weird and wonderful and magical, and so it is interesting when you talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I haven't read a book since I was in middle school or something like that. It's like, dang dude, there's like a lot of things you're missing then, so
yeah. What about you, Luke? What you curious about, man?
I'm curious about a lot of things in nature, a lot of times, like the planets in the solar system. There's two planets that spin backwards, Venus and Uranus, but they and then the rest. Well, maybe not backwards. Maybe it's just differently. So
I can't actually hear Luke. So I trust the rest of you can, and that it was something amazing. And I love you, Luke. I can see you moving in the little screen down there. I think my computer's being funny. I'm curious about why technology doesn't always work for us. I'm gonna check the chat. So we don't have any curious questions from the chat yet, but that's okay. If y'all think of anything as we go on about how we're curious, y'all just let me know. Y'all type it in, and you're like, I also wonder why technology's weird. But I want to go ahead and dive into the way I want to define curiosity, which is similarly close to Ninjago. In that I want to define curiosity today as exploration for the sake of discovery itself, without judgment of the outcome, right? Because just like you said, like it could be, it's the opposite of fear, because we don't, it could be a bad outcome, right? Like it could be great or it could be not, but we're just kind of like exploring for the sake of exploring, right? So what does that mean to have kind of like a judgment-free zone? We've kind of, Shannon and I have talked about this month in our chit chats about how like sometimes there are things that we might explore that might not have great answers. Do y'all have anything either in the, hang on, let me scroll back to the chat and see. Oh, Luke, thank you, Luke. I love you. Luke typed in the chat that he was curious about nature, like Venus and Uranus. Ooh, this been the opposite way? What? That's wild. But so in terms of like judgment-free things, right? When we're like curious about certain things, like curious about nature, right? When we're really truly asking these questions, if we find an answer that we're not really into, it's not like it's going to hurt our feelings, right? Like if Luke found the real answer about like why Uranus and Venus spin a different way, he's not going to be like, oh no, my life is over. So is there anything like, what's an example of something that might be hard to be curious about? Anyone here in our team?
Like a relationship that's important to you. So like if you start being curious about how your parents get on, maybe they don't get on the way you thought they did.
Mm-hmm. Or a way that maybe you interact with the world. Like if people tell you, I like not an emotion, but do I talk too much? Do I? Don't answer that. I just say if I found the answer out, I could be devastated.
Right. If you were truly curious about it, it wouldn't matter. But like if you were just like, if it actually mattered, then it's not true curiosity. Yeah. Mm. And so that because of that, when we're trying to be curious, we kind of have to do a little bit of like a risk benefit analysis before diving into curiosity, right? To do a little bit of like, do I really want to know about this? Like Shannon saying, like, do I really want to know like these things about myself? Or Aaron's like, do I really want to know these things about my family? And maybe you do. Maybe it's more important to you to dig into your family tree or your family history. Or, maybe you're going for a public speaking job and it's more important to you to know exactly how you're performing, and that benefit's going to outweigh those risks. So sometimes we have to do those things. And then because of that, oh yes, go ahead, Shannon.
Somebody in the chat says maybe it's hard to be curious about things that might change our point of view. Oh, yes. Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's hard because like if you really want to change your point of view, then you can be curious. If you're not actually, there's not true curiosity, I think. If you're like, if I like actually want to get to know someone on like, let's say the opposite end of the political spectrum from me, right? I have to be willing to accept all of the things that I see in here, right? That I might meet someone and be like, well, maybe they're not, maybe they don't hate the concept of me. Maybe that's just something else, right? And then Gus the magician put in there, do I really want to know is a huge question in magic, right? You're right. I think that I'm so glad you're here, Gus, as a magician to talk about curiosity, because I think you're right. I think if I was truly curious about like
how you do your illusions and how you do all those things. And if I actually found out the answer, then it might ruin those for me, right? I might not want to be as curious, and that's okay. I might be curious about other things, about how other things in the world work. And so as we're kind of like gearing up to be curious, we might need to arm ourselves. A few months ago, we talked about safety, and we talked about like how we can kind of like gear up to like prepare ourselves for things. And I think that kind of goes in line here when we're talking about like if we're ready to dig in and be curious about some hard stuff, right? If we want to know about what's our like personal quirks, then we have to kind of like put on like some gear and be like, I am ready, or ask small questions first, or take tiny steps, or have a support group. Does anyone here have any sort of things, like any ways you might arm yourself before diving in curiously to something?
Yeah, with friends, I think, with friends and with people that I trust, definitely. Just before if I was going to ask that question, do I talk too much, right?
Yeah.
Just having people around me who I can trust, and that if I find out an answer that makes me feel sad, I can lean on them to help uplift.
Usually when I get curious, it's after the rest of my life maybe gets a little settled, or like the rest of my day or something. So I can use that part that kind of enabled the curiosity to kind of be my net, right? Like, hey, I had such a great day. Now I'm kind of curious what's down the street. Oh, it's a rabid dog. I run back to the rest of my day being pretty awesome, etc. So yeah, I never actually did that, but you know.
But you could. But
I could. I could encounter rabid dogs, should I so choose.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. I also think that there's like we can also think about like when we're practicing, when we find them out, right? So this is great about why improv is fantastic to help us explore curiosity, because all of the things that we're doing are pretty low stakes on the stage, right? And so we can practice with like our pads on. We're like, nothing's going to actually hurt us here. We're practicing curiosity. So that is curiosity. So we did it. And so on our next fun thing, Aaron and Shannon, are you ready to do some improv in this improv show about curiosity?
Yes.
Do it. Show us how you're curious, my friends.
Okay.
Let's play. I love it. Go to it.
Priscilla?
Yeah, yes, Jack.
How many more years you figure we got? 5, 10, maybe 12 on the outside?
On the planet, Jack? On the planet?
No, just you and I. Just, we're getting older in our ages, and I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I can see the finish line further out,
Of us, Jack?
No, sweetheart, not you and me ending things, but just, I think my grandfather died when he was 81. My dad when he was 83. I figure, it's not too long, It's long enough, but it's not too long from now. What about you, Priscilla? You ever think of looking at the finish line and wondering what's on the other side?
Jack, sort of. Look, do you notice? Have you noticed?
That you're in a good mood, Priscilla?
No, just...
Your earrings?
No, keep looking. Just...
let me get my readers.
Oh gosh. Just forget it. It's the haircut. It's a haircut. I
Oh,
got a
you look-
haircut.
Well, that's wonderful. You look
No.
great.
Well, you can't even tell. What do you mean I look great? If you couldn't
Well, I'm
put it
sorry, sweetie. I
together-
didn't have my readers on.
But listen,
I mean, I see it now. You look lovely. You did a great job.
just
Who'd you go to? Oh, come on now.
here's the
Here
thing.
we are.
Jack. You
What?
you like to wonder. Your mind goes into a space of wonderment about the future, and
Yeah.
I just want you to be right here, like right here in my eyes, in my space, in my presence. You know, I need you to see this. If you can't see this, then it won't matter if you can see the future.
Well, okay. Well, I see you. I see you did something special today for yourself, and I bet that is wonderful. It makes me feel happy to see you be happy.
It's
No, don't wave it away.
it's,
If I'm gonna be right here for you, you gotta be right here for me. You changed your haircut, and I'm the same old smiley bastard you married 30, 40 years ago.
Jack.
What?
Listen, it's
Yeah.
not just for me. I didn't change it just for me. I changed it for us. You know, your
Oh.
way of looking into the future and waxing poetic and really thinking about where we're going to be, that's fine, but I I want to experience that now. You know? Remember when we used to think about how we might live in a cabin? We would sit in our little apartment. Remember? We would sit in our apartment and it had that sliding glass door, remember?
Oh yeah.
And we would look out and we would
Yeah.
think, one of these days, we're going to live in a cabin.
Yeah. Our view was maybe what 120, 150, 200 feet to the other side. And now it's a mile. It's a whole mile, Chris.
Yeah. But remember what we had to do in the moments to get to our space? We had so much we had to do. We had to dream it. I remember I drew out the cabin and I took pictures and we went on long
Yeah,
drives and
Yeah.
we literally took those steps in the moment so that
Yeah.
now we're like living in our future.
I understand what you're getting at, Priscilla. Now, here's the question I have for you. Why did you get the haircut? What steps are you taking with that haircut and to wear? Because it sure as hell ain't Thursday. I know that. What?
Jack,
What?
you're a dreamer. You know that? You've always been a
Yeah.
dreamer. I
Well,
feel like
you've
I'm
always been practical.
Yeah.
And now between us, we have a wonderful cabin, a wonderful golden years, and plenty to talk about. So I think we're doing just fine.
No, Jack. Me too.
Good.
Will you put your readers on, please?
They're okay. God damn. They're on already. Don't you do that to me every time. Fool.
Scene. That's a scene about curiosity.
Yeah. Curiosity.
Yay! So fun.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, friends. Great seeing about curiosity and not only demonstrating people who are curious, but you two being curious yourselves in terms of figuring out who you are, where you are, how old and sweet you are, and what kind of relationship you have, and discovering all of that again without judgment, right? At no point were either of you like, screw you, I'm not that old. Like, it was all beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah. There's a thing that happens when we do improv in general, as far as the curiosity part. And that's what you're talking about that I really love. This, like, where are we? Who are we? and why this moment. And it's always fun to poke at each of those squishy bits in a scene. Yeah, I want to talk. I want to talk to Luke, because when we're poking squishy bits, when we're poking squishy bits in a scene, that also translates to poking squishy bits like in our lives.
Yes.
Let's travel.
Go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi. How are y'all doing?
we're doing great. How are you, Luke?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So with drama therapy, we'll kind of look at. We'll do a demonstration. Are you okay? You and Aaron, are you guys okay to participate in this demonstration?
I am of sound mind.
Yeah, good, wonderful. And audience, and audience, I'll just ask you guys to type in the chat to answer the question that we'll explore right now, which is what is something that gets in the way of you being curious. So for example, like it could be something like fear of the unknown, being like, oh God, I don't want to know what's behind that door number 3. Or like it could be I'm too comfortable. I'm good. I'm all right. I don't need to know anything else. I'm fine. Or it could be feeling really sad, feeling really depressed, like I don't have any motivation, like I am not ready to take the next steps into the future. Or it could be like, oh, I know everything. That's great. I'm good. Yep. Know it all. so yeah, so I was just kind of curious. Just type in the chat about something that you find that you're like that gets in the way of your own curiosity. Aaron or Shannon, do you have thoughts or ideas about that question too?
The thing that gets in my way of my curiosity the most is the feeling of having to accomplish other necessary stuff. So like I can't go wonder what that's about. I have to cook dinner. I can't go think about that thing. I have work to do.
Yeah. I think the fear of change is a big one for me. What if I'm curious about that thing and I find the answer and then I have to change?
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's something. I have in the chat the feeling of rejection.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also have time management. It's hard to pencil in time to follow your curiosity sometimes. Things change, and having to get curious about things that I've already learned could be wrong now. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, like there's a lot of different obstacles that come into it, a lot of different factors. Unfortunately, we can't explore them all, but I do want to focus on the demonstration, and I want to see Aaron and Shannon. I would say pick one of those examples that we have looked at. It could be your own, it could be somebody else's, getting in the way of the insecurity. And then I'll have, if you guys are okay, to demonstrate an improvised scene. It'd be really fun. Are you guys okay to do that?
Yeah.
I've done those before.
Great, cool. So like the goal of this scene, I'm going to structure it pretty. Give you give a lot of structure to it, but the goal of it is to explore, what gets in the way of your insecurity and what also motivates you to know more. And so, like there was the theme of both of your characters saying, "What are you stepping into the future of?" Like with the haircut, with the glasses, so that kind of thing. So I'll need one person to play a teenager who's only asking questions, and mostly questions. You don't have to ask like all questions all the time. And the other person is a parent, and they're responding in movement only.
Yeah, that'll be me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So so let's lay it out. So this is a like this communication style between you two is like it's well established, and time is like Thursday or Friday night, right before the weekend, and the teenager has just come home from their day. And yeah, we'll let this go for a couple minutes, and then I'll give you direction for the rest.
Do you want me not to talk at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just respond in movement. Yeah.
Mom, why do people suck? Like, why do people try to like tear each other down all the time? Do you ever feel like you would just be better on your own? When you were my age, like, what was like something you never tried but like you should have tried? Like, would you have tried that if people weren't so awful all the time? Why can't I be like older already? Like, why does it take so long?
Okay, and let's pause there. And wonderful job, y'all are doing great. I'm gonna switch it up, and so have you switch characters. So Shannon, you're the teenager asking the questions. Aaron, you're the parent responding with movements. And I would say let's do a different scene. So we have a different teenager, different parent, but kind of the same scenario of like Thursday or Friday night.
Hey, oh my gosh. Have you been outside today? Can you imagine that there is a whole world out there? Why haven't I explored half of it? I just feel like there isn't enough time. Where do I find the time? Can you be more specific? why do you speak in riddles? Why does everyone speak in riddles? I just want to know answers, and I want to know them now. Do you think that I'll know everything before I die? Did you know that you wanted to be who you were or are?
Scene. Cool. All right, yeah. So, with that exercise, it's great job. Yeah. Yay.
Drama
job.
therapy.
Yeah. Thanks for switching halfway through. But yeah, there were a lot of really fascinating things, like with at the beginning when Aaron was the teenager, came in, just really like very, very somber, very sad, right? And just why are things like this? And there was a lot of like with Shannon, there was a lot of like comfort, but also just like, okay, this is, I'm gonna stand and put myself in different positions, to kind of show a different response of like still care, but at the same time, maybe like discipline too. What were your thoughts on like that first part?
It took me a while to realize I should be thinking of what Shannon was doing more abstractly. So I was thinking of it more practically at first, and it took me a while to catch up. But then once I did, it was really cool that I realized a lot of what I would normally look for in a scene, like a response, is the subtext anyway. And basically, Shannon was just showing me the subtext by showing me the way her body was moving.
Yeah, I felt like I was I felt like I was embodying a different type of parent. I feel like some of those questions are questions in which a parent wants to answer and comfort their child, but I was curious to see what it might feel like to not have the answers, just not have the answers, and really be one person, if that makes sense, like a standalone person who gets asked those questions, but you don't know the answer. Like, you don't know. Get out of here, kid. I don't know.
Got it. And when it was switched, any reflections with that as well?
I really identified with Shannon's character, like as Aaron. So it was a little bit. I had to like kind of take a step out and be like, no, I'm playing a character. Whereas Aaron was like, yeah, keep asking, Shannon, keep going.
Yeah, and I felt like I was asking questions. It was frustrating, is what it was. It's like I felt your euphoria, like, answer these questions, and the feedback was like, why is this difficult for you to? It doesn't seem like it's a difficult question.
I'm realizing, Luke, and maybe this is a bigger point, but like sometimes curiosity is aimed outward, and sometimes curiosity is aimed inward. Ultimately, a lot of the questions my character was asking was really just a sounding board, right, to get more chance to express themselves, right? That's kind of like an inward curiosity. And then Shannon's character, I think our curiosity was aimed outward, like what the world here, like what's happening, and like how can I go into it more?
Yeah. And lots of times it starts okay, I'm not getting the answers that I want. Do I continue? Do I rest? Do I feel sad? What do I approach it with next? And then there were a lot of moments of like, okay, just gonna take it one step at a time and to observe what's happening before going on to the next unknown curiosity that was happening. So
I like that thought, Luke, that you said observing. I don't feel like we've touched on that today in the show, as far as like being curious about something, pursuing it a little bit, like digging a little bit, and then observing what happens. And that's what what a lovely way to illustrate that in this exercise, because I don't know if I actually like, oh, it's working. Their drama therapy is working right now. I don't know if I actually implement that like off stage. On stage, you have to, right? Like on stage, you give an offer. As far as being an improviser goes, you give an offer and you are forced to wait to see what that offer does. But off stage in the real world, I think I'm trained sort of to, oh, you do a thing, and who really is paying close attention to what that thing caused. And so we're just sort of moving towards, you're not taking the, like you're saying, you're not taking the moment to sit and observe what it caused and the reaction or the interaction or whatever. So that's, wow. Okay. Okay.
Oh, Gus has a point to make.
Yeah.
Hi, friends. I wanted to ask. Everybody's crushing it. You're all doing an amazing job. I wanted to ask. Is it Luke, in your profession and experience, do you find that people associate curiosity with children, like that concept, that thought of like, well, how does the world work? Because in that scene that Aaron and Shannon that you guys did, there was, for me at least, there was a lot of like, there's a, hey, why is this the case? And the Aaron, you did such a great job of being a dad, of being like, well, nah, So I don't know. Is that something that you find in your profession, or can you speak to that?
I'm curious. Like, are you saying that, like, are you asking if people just associate curiosity only with childhood?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, like, as an adult, I guess I realized that we are speaking about curiosity in so many different like elements of curiosity. But do you think that whether whoever you're interacting with, do they sort of take that idea of curiosity and think of it in a childlike space?
Yeah, like I think you have to start with I mean, a lot of people talk about like the inner child that happens, and addressing that and focusing on that. And so I don't think it's necessarily like we have to be in a childlike mentality for that. But I do think that there's a case to be made for like Emily was talking about before, about being open to it, and being open to taking that small little risk of like, okay, I'm gonna and like Shannon and Aaron were saying, like, I'm gonna take this information on, and I'll carry on from there. And so I think that's kind of where as a child, you're taking on a lot of information, you're learning all the time, where sometimes as adults, it's they're like, okay, I've got discipline, I've got to do this, I got to do this. Like, there were a lot of comments today about like, oh, well, I would be curious, but like there's some limitations because I have some other responsibilities to have happen. I don't know if that's answering the question.
No, that did great. That was a great answer. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the main goal of that whole exercise is to really just kind of explore, like, sparking curiosity for yourself and with others. So great job.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Luke. Yay, we did it.
Yeah.
I liked hearing from. Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
Nope, that's it.
I was gonna say, I liked hearing from Gus. Can we get some more Gus?
We can get some more Gus. We can go right into getting more Gus. We can say
Gus,
bye,
Gus,
bye
Gus,
sort
Gus.
of to Luke and travel. All right, Gus.
Thanks. Thanks for the question.
Hey, friends. Hi. Oh,
There you
yay.
are.
Thanks for having me on your ship. This is amazing.
oh, Gus, you know
Oh,
what to say.
see.
You made it a friendship. Good job.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
God.
Oh, you like it, me being a father, when it's not about puns, but you have
Right.
to pay a price for fatherhood. That price
Lord.
is pun.
Hey, so I know this is gonna derail my entire intro, and that's cool. But like, Aaron, go. There was something amazing that happened while y'all were doing your scene, where I can, you and I are both dads. We're dads, right?
Mhm.
Like, we got kids. And it was really interesting. I think I'll tie this in. Children are so great when it comes to magic, because and magic, I mean like the profession and performance art of magic, because everything is sort of magical to them. And what's really interesting is that adults, you've made it this far into your life, and adults have this sense that, oh well, I know the answers to things. And what's interesting is that I've never met anyone who has all of the answers to everything, and so we make half of our own stuff up, right? Like when a kid comes to you and says, hey, how come this is the way that the world is, and you're, as a parent, you're just like, well, and you do you do your best. Anyway, so I really enjoyed that part of the performance, and kind of bringing it all back into my realm, which is being a professional magician. I love bringing that point to the corporate world, or to adults, and making people realize how much of their solid as a rock life that they're not trying to be curious about, if you just poke little tiny holes in it, how easy it is for everybody to kind of be like, oh right, I don't know how the world works, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, the connection between magic, like performance magic, and curiosity, is it's, for me, it's like it's 1-to-1. Like that's the, how does he do it, right? Like
Right.
that is like that's fundamental. Do we have a chance to see you do some stuff tonight? I don't know. Can you do something?
Yeah, sure, man. Sure. I'll do something for you. So before I do, I want to preface this with two things. First thing is, when I'll put on my professional hat and just say that when I hear curiosity, what I actually hear with my performer brain for doing magic shows is the word wonder, because I think that I don't think that people are curious about how a magic trick works. I think that there is, when you blow a fundamental hole in somebody's view of how physics or reality works, there's that sense of wonder that happens. And from that point of wonder, there's two directions that you can go. You can either go in the direction of like, well, how the hell did that happen? Or just enjoy the ride and just say, hey, some crazy stuff happened. So anyway, I want to preface it with that. And I also want to throw in that I will show you a magic trick, but I want you to think of it in terms of improv and world building, scene building, and all of that stuff. Okay, I put a little tiny bit of thought into this one. All right. So, I want to do something kind of cool, and I want to show you. Do y'all know what a flea circus is? Have you ever heard or seen a flea circus? There is real talk. There is something amazing about flea circuses. It is if you've never seen one before, the basic concept is that you'll go. There's somebody who's dressed like a ringmaster from a circus, and they have a glass box, and inside of that they have an entire circus set up with fleas doing all of the circus acts, and you can't quite see the fleas, but you can see all the circus stuff happening, and it's pretty amazing. I have gotten into animal rescue over the pandemic. I was like, well, we need to do our part and make the world a better place. We don't have a big enough space for a dog, so I rescued a flea. I've rescued a flea from he retired from a flea circus. I rescued this flea. His name is Hercules, and he does one trick, but it's an amazing trick. So I'm gonna get Hercules up here. This is I'm gonna try to put it next to the mic so you can hear it. It's a pretty solid, heavy ring, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ring and I'm going to kind of thread it on to this here rubber band. Hopefully everybody can see that. All right. Now his name is Hercules. He always travels with me on my shoulder. Hercules, come on, don't be shy, dude. Come on, this is embarrassing. There you go. All right, up. All right, cool. Now it takes him just a second, but hopefully everybody will be able to see him do his one trick. Here we go. Come on, Hercules. Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of all my friends. Come on. There you go. All right. Now, the longer you watch and the harder you look, hopefully you'll be able to see Hercules do his thing. I gotta say that Luke's face, I just want that on my business card right there. Hercules will move. There you go. All right, good job. Oh, release, Hercules, release. There you go. All right, bud, we'll put you back up there. And scene. All right, so
Hercules.
Good
job, Hercules. You did it. Hercules can come on this show anytime Hercules wants.
I'm gonna be so pissed when Hercules has an agent and I don't. All right. Okay. So, listen, I really did put a little bit of thought into this, and the reason why I wanted to bring to show that off. First of all, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and second of all, one of the things that makes magic, like a magical stage performance. One of the things that I think really makes it and sells it. Is the stories that go behind it, right? Like the reason why you care about this is because of the story that you bring to it. Just like with your interactions when y'all were doing your scenes. The fact is about every magic trick, and I don't care how big or small that magic trick is, the secret is stupid. I mean, it is the dumber the secret, the easier it is to fool people, because people want to be fooled. They want to have that sense of wonder or and be curious about their space in reality. And so yeah, it's that story that really sells it. Otherwise it's just a puzzle. It's a quick and easy puzzle if you don't use storytelling as part of it. So yeah, that's my opening salvo for you guys for magic and improv tied together.
You're great. I love that.
Yeah.
Gus, I'm wondering, you started off talking to Aaron. You're like, I'm a dad. We're both dads. So, man, if there was one thing that you could take out of this, of being a magician, like the story or the lesson that you would take out of being a magician that has to do something with curiosity, and stick it on being on fatherhood, what would that be?
Oh man, I feel like that's a 2-hour question. But the best answer, I think, that like the immediate answer that dribbles out of my mouth is knowing how to think around corners has really served me well as a dad. So knowing how to knowing the secrets of performance magic, knowing the secrets of performing magic has made it where when my son comes to me and says, "Hey, today let's build a robot," in my head, I think that a logical person would be like, "Well, do you have any Raspberry Pis? Do you have any how are you on Python right now?" Like, that's a little logical person. A magician will be like, "Yeah, man, let's build a robot." And knowing that there are so many different fun elements. Saying, hey, let's build a robot is the goal, but the journey can be so far left of that by the time you get back to it, you've sort of, in their head, hey, we built a robot today. In my head, actually what we did was we played with Legos. But we accomplished the goal that you set out in your brain. One of the biggest parts of magic, one of the biggest parts of being a magician, is walking on stage, basically telling people, I'm going to lie. I'm going to look right in your eye and I'm going to lie to you for our entire time. And in return for lying to you, you're going to pay me money, and you're going to walk away not knowing how any of the stuff that I did was done. And the reason why is because we all entered into this agreement that for the next hour, what I'm doing is going to be outside of the realm of possibility. And so that concept has stayed with me for being a dad. And so yeah, if you come to me as a kid and you're saying, hey dad, can we make a comic book today? Instead of just thinking absolutely logically and in a straight line, well, that means we have to draw and write and get paper and stuff like that. At the very end, if my son can look back and say, hey, we made a comic book today, that's actually the goal. And there's lots of different paths that you can use to get there. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's the best I can do.
I love that.
Yeah.
As improvisers, we're doing the same thing, right? We have the goal, and we are telling the audience that it feels impossible. Like we have no net, or we don't have a script, and we don't have any tangible things, right? But somehow we're going to let you know, we're going to show you that we can reach the goal of building a scene. Speaking of which, would you like to play an improv game with us?
What? Yeah, absolutely.
If not you, Hercules. We can have either of you, whoever you prefer.
No, Hercules can. No, don't.
Ow! I hurt myself. He's very strong.
He's so strong. You made Luke sad. Don't hurt Hercules.
Luke, he's on the other shoulder, Luke. It's okay.
All right, okay. So first off, we're gonna play a game. This is what it's gonna be. You, Gus, you're gonna choose 3 books. Do you have 3 books?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're gonna take 3 books and present them to the audience, and the audience will choose. If you're like, go ahead and present them, because we're part of the audience. So if you're in the chat, you're gonna choose one of the books that Gus holds up, or we're gonna choose one. So show them to us, Gus.
All right. Book number 1 is Hiding the Elephant, a story about Blackstone and Harry Houdini. So that's the first one.
Hiding the Elephant.
Hiding the Elephant. There's
that was a euphemism.
There's a lot of like repressed sexual tension in magic books. So Hiding the Elephant.
What is happening? What is good?
The second one, oh, you'll see when I read these, so you're welcome. The second one is Magic for Dummies.
Magic for Dummies, Hiding the Elephant, Magic for Dummies, and
the last one is
these are such big books.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
What is this?
All of these are magic themes.
Because magic. Okay, got it. I got it. I was like, what is this theme? It's so random. No, magic. Got it. Sorry, that was my silliness. Okay, so I am looking to see if anybody, Elephant, Harry Potter, or Magic for Dummies. Anybody in the chat have a preference?
I hope they choose one of these sexy magic books.
I don't see anybody yet. So I think Emily is leaning towards Elephant. What about John says Hiding the Elephant. We'll go
Okay.
We'll go with the elephant.
Can I tell you the real quick story about Hiding the Elephant?
Yes.
How sexy is it?
Oh, it's not actually as sexy as one might think. So Hiding the Elephant is an important I don't want to say an important phrase in magic, but it's sort of a meme in magic, and the concept is, I believe it was Blackstone Jr. Used to famously have in his one of his big traveling, world-renowned stage shows a piece where it was called the Magic Circus, and he had clowns and elephants, clowns and stilt walkers and acrobats and people juggling and all kinds of stuff. And all of a sudden, he would snap his fingers. There'd be a bright light, and there'd just be an elephant on the in the middle of the stage. And it was like one of those things. It's like rumored. It's passed down in rumor through magic and magic channels. And the secret to that is I will give away Blackstone Jr.'s trick. The secret to that is that. Basically, the dude realized that if I put a circus on stage, if I put clowns and people juggling and acrobats and what are the contortion artists and stuff like that, everybody's going to be looking at those things, and they won't care that there's a giant black sheet that's getting walked out onto the middle of the stage. And so by the time all the clowns are done, all I have to do is go like this, and the people drop the curtain, and there's an elephant on stage. And it was such a perfect example of misdirection and how the human brain works, because if you were in that audience, of course what you're doing is you're watching a circus. You don't give a shit about how the people who sweep up on the circus, what they're doing, and all of a sudden there's an elephant that appears on stage, and so it's a good reminder and a meme in the magic world of what is possible and how to do things.
It's also a good reminder to be curious about your surroundings. Don't let an elephant sneak up in your space.
I knew if I just speed it up, you would just knock it out of the park. So there we go. I was trying.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So let's play this game. So what's going to happen is Aaron and I are going to be we're all three of us actually. Aaron, myself, and Gus are going to be in an environment. We'll let Emily or Luke choose that environment. Think about the environment, okay? And we're going to be in an environment. We're all characters in this environment. We're going to have an easy conversation, but Gus can only speak dialogue out of the book that he has, which is Hiding the Elephant. Okay.
All right, wait, before we do this, before we jump in, Luke, give me a number between 1 and 350.
256.
256. Emily, give me a number between 1 and 350.
78.
Perfect. And Aaron, give me a number between 1 and 350.
1.
Perfect. All right. We're good. I'm ready.
Great. So Gus can only read lines through from the book. Aaron and I will try and justify. Luke, did you choose a space in your head? Nope, that's okay because you're like doing numbers.
No,
We can't do both.
I can't do both. No, I got it. It's underwater sea laboratory.
An underwater sea laboratory. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So this scene takes place in an underwater sea laboratory. Gus is only reading from his book, and Aaron and I are doing our best. Here we go.
This sea cucumber is mutating nicely.
Excellent. It's everything we've ever wanted, Jeremy. Everything we've ever wanted is going to come out of this mutating sea cucumber, and the brains behind it all, Dennis, well done.
Yes.
Well, it's practical. I've got a very efficient way to do it. One of the nicest props I've ever devised.
Is that true? Dr. Jennings, did you hear what he just said? You have a prop that does this. I don't have to manipulate the genes by hand, which is very difficult.
Nice, very nice. I say use the prop. Use the
Yes,
prop.
please
Well done,
demonstrate.
Dennis. Well done.
Yes, please, Dennis.
Yes. Stepping down from the cabinet, Professor Pepper used his sticks to push the front doors closed again. You know what that means.
Yes. Professor Pepper is always getting into everything underwater. Do you know that the last time I spoke to Professor Pepper, he used a fork to clean out his ears? A fork.
He used a Q-tip to start his automobile when I saw him last.
Oh,
There.
Dennis, you and Dr. Pepper have such a great relationship. When we surface, I hope that you'll tell us more stories.
Well,
first,
at the height of his career, during the longest contiguous theatrical run of his lifetime, Harry Houdini boldly marched into the edge of the stage at the New York Hippodrome and propelled his voice across the footlights to an expectant crowd of 5,200 people.
Well, that is our goal. Our goal is to mutate the sea cucumber until it is possible to outdo Houdini. And with the help of you and what you've learned from Dr. Pepper's, I don't think we're that far.
No.
So exciting.
Yeah, magical sketches are an excellent means to making one or two illusions go a long way.
Magical sketches. That reminds me, I found these papers. Yes, under Dr. Pepper's desk. Not only are we talking about mutating cucumbers, but we're also talking about mutating every living species underwater. Every living species. Yes, we can control the oceans.
Yes. Dennis, what would you do if you could control the ocean?
I would make sea elephants, or in the words of the bard,
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh yes. The new play was set in an army officer's bungalow just outside of the Rajapur, India, on a sultry evening.
Well, Dennis, yes, personal gratification is an acceptable outcome from gaining power. However, we're thinking more large. Like, what would you do, Dr. Jennings? What if you had the ability to control the ocean?
If I had control of the ocean, I would save the planet, really. Everyone would have drinkable drinking water is what I would do, just because it would be possible at that point. But I'm sure there are other just fantastical things. Dennis?
Yes, Dennis, something like that. Something admirable.
Just like the needles. It had only been a trick because Houdini told them it was a trick.
Drunk with power. He's drunk with power.
Yes, mad with his might, as they say. I would, of course, help use the oceans that we control to help us explore outer space and provide future homes for humanity.
Obviously.
As a reasonable scientist would select.
Yes, reasonable. Dennis, let's be reasonable, Dennis.
Dennis, to be quite honest, despite your amazing prowess with props, I think you need to tell us why you're here. Because if you're not here for a good reason, I don't think I want you in this underwater sea laboratory that Professor Pepper set up.
Listen, when I was a boy growing up in the Midwest, I was mystified by the colors of autumn leaves. The maple leaves in particular seemed unreal, a strange shade of magenta.
Yes. Let us all retire to our quarters and sleep, and then later never speak of this again.
She's going to turn the ocean magenta! A magenta ocean!
We're done with this scene. We're done.
I want to be proper! Please, let's go on!
And we never spoke of it again.
Hey. Well done, Gus Davis. You did it.
Oh, God.
You did it.
Hey, one of the actual I'm gonna try to spin. I'm gonna figure out a way to get this back onto Curiosity. All right.
Okay. We do have to wrap up our show as well. So
Yes. People always I always have this idea that in my head, doing magic, if you can like if people could really take a $1 bill and fold it and make it into $100 bill as a real actual piece of magic, wouldn't that solve, you know, so many global problems? And so this entire scene was amazing because it was awesome to see you guys like really try to get something out of that magic book and make it into you know, something that was helpful, and it wasn't. So
Listen,
Oh,
this has been lovely.
it has. It has.
It's been lovely, Gus. This like having a magician bring together curiosity and talk about curiosity is actual magic. Like I'm so grateful that you were here. I'm so grateful that you hung out with us and showed us, introduced us to Hercules. It's so lovely. Would you like final words if you're out there as far as doing improv with us today, talking about curiosity, taking some curiosity into your life and profession as a magician? What are you leaving the people with, our journeyers with?
For me, stay curious. I think that that is of all things. I mean, there's lots of excuses for why not to be curious. But I think that the idea of staying curious is so important. And I think you've highlighted that, Luke and Emily. You highlighted that so well. That really what's holding a lot of people back from, you know, exploring so much more of the world is their own fear of you know, of failure or non-success or having to change their own worldview. But if you come at it with a you know, with a sense of wonder and just be like, wow, I'm an ignorant piece of carbon, I just want to know, you know, what else is out there, that it can be magical. It can really transform how you see the world and how you experience the world. And yeah, I think that's really the secret of magic. All magic tricks are the way that they work is dumb. But it's so dumb that it inspires people to come up with creative ways of fooling other people. So yeah, stay curious.
Thank you, Gus. And Luke, how are you leaving our journeyers tonight?
There was Gus had said like thinking around corners, and I thought that was really awesome. And like, you know, so you know, and observe. You know, so just take a minute to gain some perspective. Even if you've heard the same thing over and over again, there's always something to find and discover next.
I love that. Thank you. Yes. Emily?
I think we've touched a lot at the end of this episode, especially in finding the joy in being curious, that it's fun, that it doesn't have to be scary, and we're enjoying the ride. By the way, in the chat, John said his takeaway is to poke the squishy bits.
Poke the squishy bits.
Good job. Yes. Yes.
Poke the squishy bits. Poke them just a little, you know, get consent. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Gus, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh.
Aaron, it is time.
Shannon.
Yes.
It is time.
We guided this journey. We did good journey guiding today.
I want to. I know this show's about to be over, but I hope we keep on getting feedback from the people who watch this about what journey they took while they watch this, because I am curious about that, and I from listening to everybody and from this exercise of exploring things with each other, I have realized that if curiosity is the opposite of fear, it's also a great way to show love to your community. Like, being curious about other people is a way to build those connections. So guys out there in the virtual world, I'm curious about what you were doing and how you felt in this show. And I'm curious about what you're going to come up with next, Shannon, because I can't wait for the next one.
Ooh, we are doing it. We're this whole team, our whole team is doing it. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, thank you. I love that idea of love and coming at things with love. That is really the ultimate, because when we're talking about what we're doing, we're also talking about community. And as if we're looking at curiosity, if we're looking at community through the lens of curiosity and finding love in community, this is what we're doing well. We're doing it well. All right. In the chat, say bye to Aaron, say bye to Hercules.
See you in July.
All right, friends and family, this has been your trip on the journey. You have joined us again, and it is so wonderful. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Braden. Thank you, all the people in the chat. So wonderful to have you. John, who wants to return, I'm so glad that you are here again. If you are looking for us, because you are, there are so many ways to find us. Find us on YouTube. We're exploring curiosity. We have more. We have more. We have more. We have so many more different themes that we have played with and talked about. So get on to Improv on and off the stage, because we love you and we want to see you there. We will see you next time on Improv on and off the show. Enjoy your journey.